Welcome to BSSK Radio. I'm your host, Onomi Shoro. This show is all about you, your music, your voice, your stories. In these series of interviews, we're talking to people who've left their native lands and moved to another country to teach English. Tonight's guest is Phil Richards. Hello.
Hello.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Sure, yeah. Well, I'm 24 years old. I'm from Manchester in England. I moved to Korea last year, and yeah.
Cool. Okay, let me ask you the first question.
Okay.
Why did you decide to venture halfway across the world to teach English in Korea?
Well, there were a few factors that sort of influenced me to come over to Korea to teach. I finished university in 2008 with a degree in marketing and didn't really know what to do with it or where to go from there. So I went traveling for best part of a year around South America and Africa. And while I was away, I met a couple of people actually, but one guy in particular called Nick, who had previously taught in Korea. Mm-hmm. And he was doing it on a regular basis, really, going to Korea, teaching for a couple of years, saving up some money, going traveling, going back to Korea, teaching for a couple of years, saving up some money and going traveling. And that was how he was living his life.
You met him in, where did you meet him?
I met him in Peru.
Oh, okay.
In Peru, yeah.
When did you go to Peru?
It was 2009. I was there, yeah. Well, during that trip, while I was traveling through South America, and he loved the place. He couldn't rate it highly enough. He really had some wicked reviews really about working in Korea, living in Korea. Told me you could earn some good money, give you a chance to travel, live a good life, and it was sort of playing in the back of my mind after sort of meeting him and for the rest of my trip. And I did have sort of a few ideas that I wanted to get into teaching anyway. So that was sort of always an option for me. And then when I came back from traveling, I had a couple of debts that I'd ran up. So I started working in a sales job in Manchester, and I absolutely hated it, to be honest with you. It was a boring job, monotonous job. I didn't really enjoy it at all. And this sort of idea to come to Korea to teach sort of sprung itself back up again. So I decided to pack all my job in, pack my life in England, and yeah, come over here. I haven't regretted it since.
Excellent. Okay. So, did you have any assumptions about Korea before you came here?
To be honest, I didn't know a great deal about the country before I came here at all. I'd never been to Asia before. Obviously, I'd never been to Korea before. I knew a little bit about Asian culture in general, with regards to sort of the level of respect that they show people over here. The sort of a lot of the countries in Asia are sort of soul. What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. Soul.
they're just a one sort of community country basically. Korea is a good example of that, where the majority of the people that live in Korea are Korean. So I mean, I knew that would be a factor that would be very different to living in England, where it's a multicultural society.
Okay, but did you know anything specifically about Korea?
I really didn't, apart from what the guy I'd met in Peru had told me. But I mean, he was very brief on the matter. He just said it was a really good life. The job's really good fun. It's a lot of fun to work in Korea. He put it forward as an easy job as well, with regards to it's more having fun than it is he considered working, if you know what I mean.
Fair enough. What did your family think about you moving to Korea, or the idea that you'd be going to teach in Korea?
Well, my family, I mean, my parents, they know what I'm like. They understand that it doesn't matter what they will say about a decision that I've made. Mm-hmm. If it's something I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. So they didn't sort of object to me coming to Korea at all. I think they were quite excited for me, really, to be honest with you. They know I'm not liable to make any, I hope, bad decisions. So they were more excited than had reservations. I think with regards to the choice of destination, because my family didn't know a lot about Korea themselves, mm-hmm. they were a little bit apprehensive when I told them that I was thinking of coming here. Mainly because I think when a lot of people in the West that don't know a lot about Asia think of Korea, they automatically think of North Korea, the communist state. Mm-hmm. gonna get imprisoned, it's gonna be dangerous.
Did that play in your mind at all?
No, not at all, really. I mean, I had a little bit more of an understanding about it than I think they did. I understood that I wasn't going to North Korea. Kim Jong-il wasn't gonna get me working in a work camp, and it wasn't gonna be anything like that at all. So that sort of side of things didn't bother me. And once I explained to them that everything's gonna be good, I think they were more excited than they were worried for me. So yeah.
Awesome. So you didn't get the reaction that my family gave me.
What was that?
Which was, are you mad? What are you doing? All the Asian people are coming to London. Why are you going to South Korea?
No, not at all. They supported my decision. They were excited for me. Yeah, they knew I didn't have any reservations, so I think that reassured them that they shouldn't have any reservations as well.
Excellent. Okay, so let me ask you the next question.
Go on.
You seem to be a pretty liberal guy. How have you dealt with the conservativeness here in Korea?
Well, thank you. I would like to consider myself as a liberal guy as well. Yeah, Korea is quite a conservative country. Like I said, it's a single sort of culture country. There's not too many people that live here, aside from really teachers that come from other countries and other cultures. So, I don't know.
You don't know?
Can we start this question again?
No, let's carry on. Let's tell the audience a little bit about where you're from in the UK.
Okay. Well, I mean, where I'm from originally is actually a city called Chester, which is between Liverpool and Manchester, close to both. Chester itself is apparently the least multicultural city in the UK.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's not so much a conservative sort of area, but I'm used to sort of being in a sort of a single culture environment, as it was. Most of my adult life I have spent living in Manchester, which is a very multicultural area. So I'm used to sort of having experiences with other cultures, people from all over the world, from Asia, from Africa, from Europe, from wherever. So yeah, coming to Korea was going to be a little bit different with regards to that. It was going to be single cultured. It was going to be one that I'm not familiar with, where I don't speak the language. But I think with me being reasonably well travelled, I've been to lots of different countries where it is a reasonably single cultured community and quite conservative as well. I didn't have too many reservations about that. And I think my experiences that I've had travelling have helped me sort of handle the conservative side of things quite well, to be honest with you.
Excellent. So, can you tell the audience a little bit about your ethnicity?
Yes.
Ethnicity.
Ethnicity.
I always have trouble saying that word. Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm mixed race. My father and mother are both from England. My dad is mixed race. My mum's white. My grandfather on my dad's side is from Guyana in South America. So, yeah, he's black South American.
Okay, and have you had any experiences here in Korea with people who have been drawn to you because you're mixed race, or had any kind of negative reactions because of that?
To be honest with you, I don't think Koreans know quite where to place me. I think they realise I'm not white, but I don't think they sort of put me into the category that they would consider black, which obviously they'd be right to do. I mean, most of my friends here in Korea happen, for one reason or another, to be white. And I've found that most of the experiences that I've had with regards to how you've been viewed and how you've been looked at on the street are no different to most of my white friends. The black friends that I do have in Korea, I've found, from what they've told me, that they sometimes have a little bit more hostility. Maybe not hostility, but have more stares on the street, stares on the subway, stares on the bus than I get and my white friends get. So I don't think being mixed race has put any negative spin on things for me. I'm just considered another foreigner, another white person to them. The only time I would say that I've had any negative experiences, I don't even consider it negative, to be honest with you. I consider it more blind ignorance. Is teaching in schools. I teach elementary school children, so obviously they're quite young, still got a lot to learn, and obviously they have that Korean mentality anyway. But the curriculum that I follow, we have a CD-ROM that goes along with with the curriculum. And there is one character in the CD-ROM.
The famous character Peter that a lot of people have spoken about. Peter.
And he is a black boy, a black American boy, and every time he pops up on the CD-ROM, I look out for it now because I know it's coming. But my students will look at the screen, look over at me. A few of them will crack a smile, look at the screen, look at me. And then you'll hear a few of them shout, Phil teacher, Phil teacher, Phil teacher. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, very funny, very funny. And they'll have a laugh about it. But I know they're not being malicious. They're not trying to be rude. They don't know, to be honest with you. It is a problem, I suppose, in Korea, that they don't understand that this sort of attitude that they have is, or could be taken in a negative way.
No, I think it's also the fact that in the media, Korean media, it's so dominated by being as white as possible. That's seen as being the kind of the beauty status.
Of course, yeah.
Because that's what they've kind of been fed. Their parents have been fed that, and the kids pick that up as well. That anybody that's kind of out of that kind of genre is different. So it's always looked at upon as being a bit of a curiosity. But what about any kind of converse? People coming up to you because you look different from the rest of the Koreans. Have you experienced a lot of that?
I have experienced that. I don't think that's anything to do with me being mixed heritage at all. I think that's purely down to me being a foreigner. I mean, no one's ever made comments with regards to my skin colour, for example, negative or positive. But yeah, you do find you'll see a lot of Koreans, or not a lot, but you'll get a handful of Koreans that will come up to you. And they want to try and practice their English. I mean, they know that you are foreigner. They know you probably will speak English, so they come up to you and they'll try and have a little conversation with you, which is quite nice, to be honest with you. It's not all negative, which I think a lot of people have that assumption that it is. It can be quite a positive experience as well. And it's quite warming when you're walking down the street and someone will come up to you and just say, "Hello, how are you?" or "How's the weather?" And it's nice to have that sort of experiences from time to time.
That's true. I mean, the listeners know that I have told this story before, but when I first arrived in Korea, I sent a message to my family saying I feel like a pop star.
You really
do.
Do.
People just staring at you on the street, kids coming up to you and hugging you and stuff. Or if you look a little bit lost, people automatically come and help you.
Yeah.
They want to kind of send you in the right direction. People are generally very friendly here. So
people are. I think I had the sort of assumption. I know. When I first came to Korea, and before I came to Korea, that their attitude, I'd read before that they were a racist country and racist people.
Where did you read that?
I don't know, various forums that are checking out.
Is it the famous Dave's
Yeah,
DSL?
it might have been on Dave's DSL Cafe.
Yeah, bad rep.
Yeah, I read somewhere. I don't want to name names, but I read somewhere that they had sort of certain hostilities towards certain groups and certain ethnicities. Which, I mean, with me being mixed race, I thought that they wouldn't really be able to place me, which they haven't. I didn't think they would assume that I was black. But in all honesty, I've never encountered any sort of negative sort of attitudes towards me at all, or anybody I know, really, to be honest with you. The only time, like I say, that I've ever felt sort of laughed upon or looked upon in a bad light was that time in school, those numerous times in school.
And even that's not, and we've all had that experience.
I mean, I laugh with the kids about it as well, to be honest with you. I take it as a joke. They're never sort of trying to pick on me or be nasty in any sort of way. So yeah, no, I don't think
do you also get the Obama and Terry Henry?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've just started at a new school this week, and already I can't even count the number of kids that say Obama teacher. I haven't had Thierry Henry just yet. In my old school, I got that. I got a lot of footballers last time, yeah. Ronaldo is another one that popped up a few times.
Yeah, someone today called me Messi.
Messi?
I'm like, what the fuck? Teacher, you are Messi. Another one said, oh, teacher, you are Thierry Henry. And then someone else said Obama. And I'm like, okay.
Obama, I get quite rude.
This is like the standard thing the kids say.
Any sort of black person or person of any sort of colour that then they see on the television, yeah.
Have you got Will Smith yet?
Will Smith? No.
I've had Will Smith as well.
That's quite a good one to get, I think.
Okay, so
it must be the ears.
The ears? What are you talking about? Fucker. Excuse my language. Anyway, So I've got to let the listeners know that this is the first interview that we're actually doing person to person, or in the same room. Usually it's done via Skype, and we are enjoying some nice red wine.
Cheers.
You want to do a toast? And we're also having a nice smoke of some pipe with some lovely tobacco. But Phil,
Yes.
can you tell us your first track?
Yes, the first track I've chosen tonight is a track called Vacacio Mental by Passion Sintético.
Awesome. So here's the track. Okay, did you enjoy that track, Phil?
Fantastic, I love it.
Awesome. Okay, so let me ask you the next question. What do you think is the key to having a rewarding experience here in South Korea?
I think in order to have a rewarding experience here in Korea, you have to look at the reasons why you came here in the first place. For myself, it was to have a good time, to sort of get immersed in the culture, to experience a different place and a different place to live other than England, to learn a lot about the way people live here. And I think in order to do that, you have to just dive deep, basically.
What does that mean, dive deep?
You have to go out there. Don't be shy. I mean, I understand it can be quite scary, really, to come to another country alone without knowing anybody here. It can be quite a daunting task to sort of get yourself out there and really get stuck in meeting people, having these experiences. But I just think you don't have to be scared about anything at all, because like we've discussed tonight, Korean people, they're friendly people. They're there to help you. They want to help you. They enjoy having foreigners here. So you have nothing to be scared of. Just get stuck in, get out there, get meeting people. There's plenty of schemes, there's plenty of clubs, there's plenty of exchange programs where you can meet Korean people. You can learn the language, you can have these experiences, go on excursions, go on trips away, see Korea. And I mean, don't have a shortage of opportunity to do these sorts of things. So I just think you need to go out there and do these sort of things, really.
Awesome. But I mean, I've spoken to quite a few teachers, and one topic that seems to be an issue is loneliness. Have you ever encountered any of that being here? I mean, since you're like so far away from your family and the people you grew up with, how is your experience of loneliness in South Korea?
In all honesty, I have never felt lonely from the day I arrived here to the present day, to be honest with you. I don't know, maybe some of the other people you've interviewed have been in different parts of the country to where I'm living, but I currently live in Incheon, which is, I believe, the third largest city in Korea. So, I mean, the number of people that live in the city is obviously quite high, and also the number of foreigners that live here is quite high. So, when you come to a country like Korea, I found, and I know a lot of people that I've met have found, that you sort of gravitate towards foreigners instinctively, which I think people do when they go to a new country all over the world. Gravitate towards people that you know and you can share some experiences with, really. And living within a city like Incheon, where there are a large number of foreigners, you're never sort of short of finding friends. And like I just mentioned before, I mean, there's plenty of schemes set up for you to meet Koreans as well. I mean, obviously you're here to sort of get involved with the culture, so that those sort of opportunities don't go amiss, really. You have that opportunity there, but I've never ever felt alone at all. I never felt lonely. As well, I mean, working myself, I work in the public education system, and it's really well set up in Korea because they have two sort of influxes of teachers throughout the year. Once at the beginning of the school year, and then once after the summer vacation for the second semester. So when you arrive in Korea, you will normally be enrolled in an orientation where all of the new teachers that are in your area will also have to partake in it. It's like a week-long orientation where they'll inform you about Korea, about life here, about teaching. We'll have lectures from various teachers that have lived in Korea for some time.
But I have an issue with that. Do you think that teachers who go to those orientations, I mean, a lot of them are mandatory, but do you think those teachers tend to gravitate to each other and use them as a comfort blanket, instead of actually going out and meeting Korean people? And I know it can be difficult if you don't speak Korean, but there's a lot of Korean people here that speak English. Do you think that people who do go to the orientations tend to just gravitate and hang out with the same people that they met initially, instead of branching out and discovering Korea for themselves?
I think initially the people that are on orientation together do sort of gravitate towards each other, and they do hang around with each other for the first portion of their life in the country, which I think is inevitable, and I think that's a nice thing to have, that you've just arrived in the country fresh off the plane, and you've got that sort of friend base already. I think that's a nice sort of comfort for people to have, because it's a nerve-wracking thing coming to a country on your own. But for myself, I mean, I can't speak for others, but I found once I felt settled in the country, I felt comfortable where I was living, that I was able to branch off and do my own thing in my own sort of pace when I wanted to, basically. And I could go and meet Koreans, I could go and find myself a language exchange. But obviously, different people take a different amount of time to acclimatise to living in a new country. So I think having that sort of initial bond with people in a similar situation to yourself is quite a useful tool to have.
I mean, I understand that. When I first arrived in Korea, I didn't go to an orientation. I literally was put straight into teaching. So I didn't have an orientation. I met my co-teachers and went to school and started, in inverted commas, teaching.
Okay. And
I didn't meet anybody to have like a network for a very long time. So I really depended on my co-teachers and the people that I just met on the street to be friends. So I kind of seen both sides of it. But one thing I would say is that I do think the orientation, the way that it's set up, is like a safety net for many people. And I've encountered that now. I've kind of got really lazy and not really wanting to go out and meet more people in the area or meet more Korean people, just because I know there's this network of people who are foreigners who are sharing similar experiences. So I think it has its pluses and its minuses, but I think if you really want to experience Korea, you need to kind of branch out of that and go and explore things on your own.
I believe so too. And I feel if that's the attitude you have and that's what you've come here to do, you will do that regardless of the orientation or not. But for those people who are a little bit more shy, a little bit more reserved, I think it's nice to have that sort of. A lot of people come here straight from university, and they're quite young people as well. They haven't had experiences living away from home before, so I think to have that sort of, like you say, a safety net, really, that they can know that there's other people in the same boat as them, other people who are just as scared and just as worried but they have that sort of opportunity to communicate with them from day one. I think it is quite nice. And then they will find their feet in their own zone. I'm sure they'll go off and have these experiences when they're ready.
Okay, fair enough. All right, moving on. Everyone knows that coming to Korea, it's very close to other Asian countries. It's very easy to travel around. A lot of people who do come to Korea have a passion for traveling.
Mm-hmm.
So can you share with us any experiences of any recent travels you've been to?
Yeah, well,
excursions?
Of course, yeah. Well, I arrived in Korea last year, February, so just over a year ago now. One of the initial reasons I came here was to sort of try and pay off a few bills that I've got back home. Didn't happen in my first year, which is why I've stuck it out for a second year and maybe some
Why
more.
didn't it happen?
Because of these excursions that you've mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Mainly.
I think that's why many people have been here quite a few years.
Yeah, of course. I mean, living in Korea, it does provide a really good opportunity to travel around Asia. It's a nice base to have and to hop around to various different countries, as well as exploring Korea itself. So yeah, my first year here, summer vacation. Obviously, being a teacher, you get nice holidays, which is one of the pluses. So I went to the Philippines.
To the Philippines?
Yeah, to the Philippines.
Ah, okay. Lots of people have been to the Philippines recently.
Have you?
I haven't been.
No?
No, usually when I have my breaks, I go off to America, to the West Coast.
Okay.
But a lot of teachers I've interviewed have been to the Philippines.
Yes.
We haven't discussed it in the interviews, but they have told me off air, so to speak, that they've been there.
And there's a good reason for it, because it's a beautiful country, it really is. I went. It was a real holiday,
Mm-hmm.
rather than a traveling experience, which I'm more recently used to be honest with you. It was a 10-day break to the Philippines. There was quite a large number of us that went as well. Me and
Were these people from your orientation?
they weren't from my orientation, because just like yourself, when I arrived, I didn't initially have an orientation either. It's just recently that I have had an orientation. But there were various friends that I'd met since I've been in Korea. I think there was about 11 of us that went in total. So it was a reasonably large number for a holiday. We flew into Manila and then went to Boracay for a few days. Party Island, had some fun there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we flew down to Bohol, which is another island, and stayed in an island just off there, connected by a road, called Panglao. It was a really nice holiday, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I would be inclined to go back, because there's certain parts of the Philippines that I wasn't able to cover on that trip, but I'd like to visit again. So yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to going back.
So is the Philippines the only place you've been to, or has there been other destinations?
No.
In your year and a bit you've been in Korea?
Year and a bit. Yeah, well, that was my summer vacation taken care of, and then for winter vacation, I managed to get quite a long time off, as I didn't have to desk warm at all.
You didn't have to desk warm.
I don't know if you're listening.
For people who are listening, can you just explain to them what desk warming is, which is a phenomenon which lots of Korean teachers, well, guest teachers in Korea, will know very well what that is.
Yeah, desk warming. Basically, we get summer vacation, which is just over a month long. And you also get a winter vacation, which is over 2 months in duration, and that's the time when the kids are off school, so they don't have to come in at all. But the contracts that we sign, we are only entitled to so many days holiday. My current contract allows me 18 days holiday, and obviously the summer and winter vacations are a much longer period of time than that. So we actually have to still go into school during the summer and winter vacations, unless you have requested your holiday days.
And nobody's there. Generally, you are the only person in the building. Well, I had a couple of other people, but really they're not doing anything.
So basically, you just go into school, you arrive normal time, say 8:40 in the morning. You sit there all day doing absolutely nothing. Maybe watch a few movies, watching TV shows, read a book, do whatever you want, learn some Korean, and then you go home at the end of the day. It's so ridiculously pointless, but we have to do it. But fortunately, on my last contract that I had, there was no desk warming involved, which meant I got the whole winter vacation to myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long was that?
I had, I believe, just over 7 weeks off.
Oh,
so
7 weeks?
8 weeks in total.
To travel?
Yeah, well, I could do whatever I wanted. So I
Wow.
took 6 weeks of that and went to India 6 weeks, which was Yeah.
Whereabouts in India did you go?
I flew into Delhi, and then I travelled to Varanasi after that, which is the holy city, the Hindu holy city on the Ganges, which is a very interesting place.
Did you travel by yourself,
Yeah.
or were you with your posse?
No, I decided.
I've got to let the listeners know that Phil has a posse of people here in Korea. Do you have a name for your posse?
I don't even think posse is the right word. I have a group of friends, but who doesn't? A posse, I would not consider the right word. But no, I did this trip on my own. I decided to leave the, in inverted commas, posse at home. So yeah, I went to India on my own. Traveled to Delhi, Varanasi, Agra, see the Taj Mahal, and then did like a loop round Rajasthan. That was about 3 weeks of the trip. Then I caught a long train down to Goa for a little bit of a party. Checked out Gokana after that, and Hampi, back to Bangalore, and then back home.
Excellent.
It was a fantastic trip. I really enjoyed it. Like I said earlier, I've done a fair bit of travelling in my time, and India it was a different place. I've never been anywhere quite like that, but it has a special place in my heart now.
Awesome. Okay, moving on to the last question.
Okay.
As we come to the end of this interview. So, what words of wisdom do you have for any potential teachers who are thinking about coming to Korea that you would like to partake or share with them?
If people are considering come to Korea, I would just say do it. Really, I mean, I've come over here. I mean, I had a few reservations myself about coming here, packing up, leaving everything I'd known originally back home. But I've had the best year so far, possibly of my life. I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I've learned so much here, and it's really given me an insight into life in Asia. I mean, you can travel to different parts of Asia. You can travel to Thailand. You can go to various popular holiday destinations, but you never really get a sense of somewhere until you've actually lived there. I don't believe. Mm-hmm. And living in Korea, I think, has really done that for me. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've learned a lot, and also with regards to actual teaching, this has given me, or it's made me make a decision now that this is a career path that I actually want to follow. So a lot of people come over here they don't know what to do with their lives. They want a gap year, say, come to Korea to teach for a year because apparently it's an easy life, which I'm not going to lie, it possibly is.
It really is. Speaking for someone who's been here for 4 years and counting, it is very, very cushy.
Yes. But I mean, I really enjoy the job. I really do. I mean, I have a lot of fun teaching. It's a really rewarding job. Keeps you on your toes. You never know what the day's got in store for you. Like I said earlier, the last job I had, I was working in a sales job. It was very monotonous. I was selling the same products over and over and over. But I mean, you come in school, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with children, and you never know what they've got in store for you, basically. So I mean, that side of things I really enjoy. I really get a lot out of it, and it's made me want to take a career in teaching now.
Awesome. Okay, Phil. So, can you tell us what is the last track that you would like us to play as we close this interview?
The last track I have for you tonight is called Petit Talibé, and it's by Lostana David.
Okay, here's the track. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sommeil, suce un bout de pain, jeté par un toubab, attendre à demain, mendier au soleil, petit talibé délaissé, crève de fatigue et d'ennui, perd sa vie pour récolter 3 sous pour le marabout. Grand comme un adulte, connaît pas l'innocence de l'enfance. Les passants pour eux chantent à l'âme du lilas, car c'est à Dieu de partager la chance. Petit talibé délaissé, crève de fatigue et d'ennui,